Good stuff there. We got Jeff Kerr in the green room. We're going to talk to Jeff Kerr. Make sure everybody goes and follows Jeff Kerr at Jeff Kerr PHL. He's set to join us here on a Monday morning. He joins us right now. Jeff, welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing on this Monday morning post Super Bowl 60?
I'm like you guys, by the way. I don't like gimmicks either.
Yeah, I'm not a big gimmick guy. Well, the Christmas tree's still up. I like it. All right.
You know what?
We got the explanation for that. I'm good with your explanation. I respect the explanation.
I actually had a friend who was down at the Super Bowl. I hosted a Super Bowl party last night, and he goes, "It's not a Christmas tree because there's really no Christmas themed ornaments on it. It's all Disney stuff."
All right, so we'll call it a Disney tree. So.
That's what he called it.
You know who's not going to Disney? Drake Maye. My God, that was awful.
Oh, man, was he terrible. You know, I thought he had a bad postseason just watching his games and watching his tape.
Oh, terrible postseason.
My God, he was somehow worse in the Super Bowl. I didn't think he'd get worse. And
I didn't think he could get worse, but damn it, he did it.
Yeah. I mean, that throw to Austin Hooper, that said it all. When he had Hooper wide open and he just missed him, I'm like, all right, this guy is just not good. Like, I can't believe there was so much discourse and so much backlash on Thursday night when Stafford won MVP by 5 points over Maye. And people were just ripping the non-Drake Maye people. And I'm like, look, I get these guys vote.
These guys vote in the regular season.
Yeah,
those guys are looking good.
A lot of them are looking good. And I'll tell you what, Sam Monson, who voted for Justin Herbert to win MVP, is looking good too.
Yeah, Sam took a lot of shit for that. Yeah, people are weird, man.
You know what I don't like, John? They want you to reveal your vote, and then you do reveal it, and then they slam
they don't demand. They last year when I had a vote, they did. They just published them. They didn't even ask us. This year, they went back to, if you want to reveal it, you can. If you don't want to reveal it, you don't have to. That's how it had been for years. Now, I don't mind revealing mine.
I'm the same way.
But people, there's so many awful people on social media. They just attack and attack and attack and troll and try to dox. And, it's like, get a life, man.
Well, it's the clueless people too, like the super fans. And I like telling them off. I'm like, well, first off, that's not how the MVP voting works. And second off, they do change voters usually.
Well, 99% of them don't know. It's a regular season award. So the playoffs have nothing to do with it. You don't even get to watch a playoff game before the votes are in. So it's a regular season award. So the playoffs have nothing to do with it.
And they used to and they used to reveal the MVP like the second week of the postseason. So this was always a null and void comment.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that, number one. And he did have a good regular season. So I don't have a problem with him being second, but I'm kind of amazed at how they put together that season because he is not a good quarterback. And it's weird to say that somebody's in the second MVP voting and he's not a good quarterback, but he is not a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but he does not know how to play the position. Obviously, he's got a ton of talent. But these things are going
to. He's really young, right, John? I mean, how much?
Yeah.
23. Yeah, he's 23.
Yeah, he's very young, and that's part of it. That's a big part. That's the biggest part of it.
Because I do think he's got a pretty good skill set. I like the way
he's got a tremendous skill set.
Good arm. So I do think he could get there. I don't disagree, though. I mean,
I go on the Chiefs radio station every week, and this is probably, I want to say week 7 or week 8. I was poised with the question, can the Bills win the AFC East because the Patriots are starting to run? And we looked through the Patriots schedule and we said no, because the Patriots don't play anybody. We were saying that in week 6.
Yeah. They did have an unbelievably easy schedule. Like by every metric, it's one of the easiest schedules of all time. And that's part of it.
I mean,
it is hard. It is hard to win that many games, no matter what in the NFL. So they deserve credit, but they did not look like a Super Bowl team. I said that going into the game. They don't look like a Super Bowl roster. They don't look like a Super Bowl team. And they certainly didn't look like a Super Bowl team.
And I think that's where the lack of hype for this game really came out. I think a lot of people knew the Patriots weren't really a Super Bowl team. I think a lot of people were like, okay, Seattle's really good. Seattle should beat this team pretty easily. I thought that, and they did.
Yeah, they did.
I don't think the Patriots were the best team in the AFC this year.
No,
to me, they're missing some pieces. I mean, I know Drake Maye didn't play that good, but the people around him didn't play all that good either.
No.
I mean, the offensive line was pretty bad. The weaponry, he doesn't really have the best weapons. I know they had a good year, but I mean, the running back from Andre Stevens, you know what I mean? Like, they're good.
Well, like Travion Henderson, where was he last?
Yeah, I know. He didn't do much.
Well, they don't play. I think he's better than Stevenson, but
Me too.
Whatever. They don't play him enough because he's far more explosive. But I don't know. Maybe he's got some fumbling issues. I don't know why they don't, but they should. I was very disappointed. Mike Vrabel was coaching that game like it was, I said, 1965. It's like, dude, you're going to have to take chances to beat this team.
I didn't get the whole, like, he's punting when he's only down 12-0. I'm like, dude, you're still in the game.
Yeah, you got to try to win. What's the alternative? You're going to lose anyway. Go try to win.
It felt like Drake Maye was trying to win late. He was just throwing stuff up at that point.
Throwing shit up. It's like, ugh, boy. I mean, that's me. To the NFL as a whole, man. The defenses are what we're taking the offenses. And I don't know. I
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Now, when guys start aging out in the Matthew Staffords of the world, like who's coming up? And we always say every year, and this year it was Drake Maye and CJ Stroud. Well, 2 years ago it was CJ Stroud. Really?
Yeah, last year was Jaden Daniels, but he was hurt and terrible this year when he did play.
These guys don't know how to play the position, and there's no time to teach them how to play the position. Unless you can fail, go to San Francisco, learn under Kyle, and turn into a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And I think Mac Jones could do that as well if they let him go, which they won't.
Yeah,
for
they're not going to do that.
For another year. I'm being a little facetious. This was a good year for me in quarterback evaluation, though, because you know how much shit I took about Matthew Stafford for years when he was in Detroit.
And Sam Darnold over the last couple of years.
Yeah, Sam. I mean, you can't win a Super Bowl. He's won 31 fucking games over the last 2 years.
31-7. With two different teams.
Yeah. Can't play, though. Yeah.
I was told last night that, you think Jalen could do better than Drake Maye in Super Bowl? I'm like, I don't think I know because I've seen him do it.
Jesus.
I've seen him do it.
Jalen performs in Super Bowls. There's no doubt about that. He's only got 2 of them, but man, he performed in both of them. There's no doubt.
He only has 16 incomplete passes in 2 Super Bowl games. That's pretty good.
I still think the best game I've ever seen him play in his life was the Super Bowl that he lost.
Yeah, the one he lost.
Yeah, I thought he was so good in that game.
He's the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 300 yards, run for 70, and have over 3 touchdowns ever in a game, and he lost.
Yeah, that was he was much better in the game they lost than the game they won. It's very efficient in the game they won, but last year's Super Bowl it was the defense, man. I mean, it was 24-0. That was the great stat last night. Seattle had, I believe, 50 or 51 yards at halftime. And I said, yeah, it was 51. And I said, well, the good news is they have 28 more than the Chiefs had last year. The Eagles gave up 23 yards in the first 30 minutes of football.
You know what my favorite thing was last night when they're talking like the Seattle defense is just like the greatest, let's do the hyperbole, the greatest defense we've ever seen. I'm like, well, the Eagles existed last year, and last time I checked, like you said, they allowed the Chiefs to 23 yards at halftime. Oh, by the way, it was 40-6 at one point in that game before the Chiefs started throwing stuff up. Again, like Drake Maye last night.
Same thing. Drake Maye had 295 passing yards last night.
Yeah, who would have known?
They had 79. They had 79 yards through 3 quarters.
That's why I like to tell you morons. Passing yards is a stupid stat. It is a stupid stat. You throw for a lot of yards when you're down.
Well, the worst part is so and so won the Super Bowl or so and so lost the Super Bowl at quarterback. I always bring up Peyton Manning, and I thought it was interesting, and I bring him up now because everybody, to me, Peyton Manning is the most consistent quarterback of all time from week to week as far as performance goes, in my opinion. When he won his second Super Bowl, it was his last season, I believe.
It was.
It was
he
his
retired
last
at
season.
31.
He was awful. It was the worst he ever played. His neck was barely on his body. He was so beat up. He was awful. And they won the Super Bowl. And I tell people that all the time. And I'm like, then they put out all the EPA stats. So Drake Maye is the worst quarterback of the century when it comes to EPA in the playoffs. You know who number 2 was? Peyton Manning in 2015.
Yeah. Wasn't there talk that year like they should put Brock Osweiler?
Yes.
Yeah, in because
he was awful. He was not healthy. He missed a bunch of the season because he wasn't healthy. He was clearly at the end. He had nothing left physically. Yeah, I mean, it's like the same thing with Ben Roethlisberger won his first, one of the worst Super Bowls ever by a quarterback, but he won the game.
That's why I think so many people like to rip Cam Newton as much as he does, outside of his bizarre takes that, dude, like you had a chance, you had a golden opportunity to win the Super Bowl, and you just fell flat on your face the year you won MVP.
Here are the worst playoff runs ever. In the century, not ever. Drake Maye
in terms of EPA.
Yeah, Drake Maye's number 1. Peyton Manning in 2015, number 2. Rex Grossman, 2006. That makes sense. Joe Flacco in 2008. Jared Goff in 18 with the Rams. Kerry Collins in 2000. Trent Dilfer in 2000. Obviously, they played each other. Tom Brady, 2001, but we're getting to mediocre. There were only 5 terrible, just flat out terrible postseasons. Drake Maye this year, Peyton Manning 2015, Rex Grossman 2006, Joe Flacco 2008. If you get to the Super Bowl, you're generally not terrible.
And that Bears team in 06, I thought actually they were a really good football team. I just thought Rex Grossman was the major Achilles heel in that.
Oh, Rex couldn't play a lick. But they had Brian Urlacher. It was great defense.
And Devin Hester was just unbelievable on special teams.
Yeah.
What was Jalen's in 21 or 22?
Well, these are bad seasons, so that's
his would be.
Jalen would be. Yeah, Jalen would be in the.
Yeah, Jalen's a really good performer in the postseason, contrary to what the X tells you.
Does X lie about that? Well,
X lies about everything these days.
And typically, so we're talking about 25 years. We're talking about a quarter century. Typically, when you make, these are only Super Bowl quarterbacks. When you make the Super Bowl, by definition, almost, you can't have a terrible postseason. They're really, as I said, even though I gave you the list, there's, like Brady's 8th worst. His EPA is minus 2.9. Like it's average. Like there were only 4 terrible seasons. Drake Maye postseasons this year. Peyton Manning, Rex Grossman, Joe Flacco.
And that context in the Brady EPA too from 2001, played in the snow game, which there wasn't a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns being thrown that game anyway. And then remember that was his first, got hurt in the AFC Championship game. So that obviously affected. And in the Super Bowl, outside the second half, he wasn't that great in that game. But
well, and if you go to Patrick Mahomes, like he had terrible Super Bowls against the Eagles and the Bucs, but great postseasons as a whole. So it brings you up. Drake Maye was just consistently bad in the postseason. Consistently bad.
And we tried talking about it and people just didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing in a lot of ways that they got to where they got to. Boy, I'm already predicting, New England's not making the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
Well, you got to wait till free agency in the draft and see what the roster looks like. But boy, They did it with smoke and mirrors.
And here's the other omen. I know Jalen Hurts broke the mold here, but usually when you lose your first Super Bowl, you don't go back.
It's true. Jalen's more the outlier than he is the rule there.
Jalen was the first one since Jim Kelly, and he was to go back, and he's also just the fourth quarterback to lose his first Super Bowl start and then win his second. There's some pretty good ones that lost their first and won their second.
All right, let's get it back to the Eagles, Jeff, because nobody cares about the Seahawks and Patriots in Philadelphia. I know that.
Before we go back to the Eagles, what did you guys think of the NFL season in whole?
Kind of an underwhelming season.
Well, I think I mean, I think the product is shitty. I talk about it all the time, but it was just shitty last year. I mean, to me, locally, it's about, well, are the Eagles reaching their expectations or not? So obviously people are disappointed. I don't think it was any different than any other year. It was just a little weirder because you had a lot of upheaval with the traditionally good teams and some new, like, who was picking New England and Seattle at the beginning of this season?
No one was.
I legitimately thought New England was one of the 5 worst teams in football.
I didn't pick them as that. Yeah, I didn't pick them as that.
Coming into the season, I'm saying.
Yeah. So coming into the year, when I worked for CBS, I had the task of picking the 5 worst. And I remember I picked the Jets. I picked the Saints. I picked the Colts. I ended up being wrong about the Colts, but they collapsed. So I'm trying to remember who else I picked. I picked 2 really bad teams. Oh, the Raiders. I think the Raiders I picked.
I'll have to look it up. Yeah, some of them, the Jets, the Raiders, they consistently. But I mean,
the Giants for the other team I picked. I always go with the Giants.
I'm not going with the Giants this year.
No, I'm not either. But this year I did because of their schedule. I remember saying like they're better than what they're going to show.
New England had the largest turnaround in NFL history from a positive standpoint.
Yeah, it did. It was like a 2021 Bengals 99 Rams turnaround in terms of preseason expectations, but they weren't as good as those teams.
No. So nobody predicted. It's a little bit of upheaval, but I think that's where we are with the NFL as a whole. The product is what the product is, and I think a lot of it stems from the way they force defenses to play, which is attack these young quarterbacks. And when you attack, it can be ugly football, as opposed to mixing in some zone, mixing in some 8-man drops, stuff like that, which I think defensive coordinators have figured out against young players, young quarterbacks. A, you don't have to do it. And B, you're not going to be effective doing it. So just throw the kitchen sink at them. And most of these guys can't handle the kitchen sink. Yeah. So it looks ugly.
John, this Super Bowl, like in terms of the matchup, it felt like Super Bowl 16 and 81, right? The 49ers weren't supposed to go. They were 6-10 the year before. I don't think the Bengals were that great the year before either when they had Kenny Anderson. And
should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way, Kenny.
Yeah, it should be in the Hall of Fame. And at the time, like when the 49ers won, I don't think the 49ers were good the next year or two. And then they got back, and that's when their dynasty really started. But
interesting comp. It's a long time ago, that comp.
It was a long. And the Bengals, they went back 8 years later, but they had a completely different team.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. Jeff, I got to ask you about some Eagle news this weekend, just from guys talking around. Jalen Hurts was at the Super Bowl. Cool to see that with him being introduced with a bunch of kind of legends there. Micah Parsons, made a comment on his podcast that he was almost traded to the Eagles for Jalen Carter and picks. What's your first reaction to that?
Well, I agree with Micah that you go to the Eagles to play with Jalen Carter, not to get traded for Jalen Carter. So, but I'm not surprised at all. I mean, John and I have talked about it, Andrew. You and I have talked about it. Eagles always want that premier edge rusher. I mean, when you hear smoke about them potentially being interested in Myles Garrett and Max Crosby, there's truth to it because that's what they want. They want that elite edge rusher. So it didn't shock me in the least. And look, I can say this. I know Micah Parsons wanted to be an Eagle. he wanted to come here. He wanted to play close to home again. And
I'm shocked to hear the name Jalen Carter, though. You know, it's one thing to make.
I think that may have been what Dallas asked for.
Right.
I think that's what Dallas wanted because they wanted a defensive tackle.
I don't think Dallas was trading him to the Eagles.
No, I don't think they were either, but I'm sure Dallas entered.
I'm sure the Eagles tried to push Jordan Davis on them, and the Cowboys.
They weren't buying that.
The Cowboys probably said, well, you know, we'll think about Jalen Carter. And look, Micah would have came here, you know, if they traded Jalen Carter for him, and it would have been fine. But I don't think the Cowboys were trading him to the Eagles, which is smart. But I also think they shouldn't have traded him to the Packers either. But
yeah, I thought that was goofy. Smart. I would have traded him to an AFC team.
Yeah, I would have went. I would have went. But clearly, yeah, the Jerry was obsessed with getting better on the interior, and he got Kenny Clark, which is not even close to obviously Jalen Carter, even Jordan Davis, the way Jordan played last year. And Kenny's more aging, descending. But then he went out and used one of the picks to get Quinnen Williams, so who is good, who was really good. So he was definitely focused on getting better in the interior. But yeah, I think the Eagles would have done it. I think they would have done it.
I mean, Micah Parsons is. I think we know what Micah Parsons is going to be.
I don't know if I would have liked that trade. I'm not saying Carter's a better player than Parsons. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't know. It feels to me like our defense is built in the interior of our D line. I mean, you want to get rid of Jalen Carter and then try and be as productive with Micah. I don't know. I mean, I get Micah's a great player, but Micah's not a perfect player. He doesn't solve everybody.
I think it comes down to who would you rather pay premium money?
Yeah, I'd probably.
And Micah, I think you know what you're getting.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm falling in love with the player too early, but Carter feel I
don't think you are.
Like
honestly,
Carter, is a good.
I think that's a tough decision, but
yeah,
Micah Parsons.
You ain't getting a player like that without giving up significant.
Yeah, no, I know.
Got to give up talent.
Rather give up like anybody else than Carter.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some now, and now that the season has gone by, there's more questions. Before the season, which is when this would have happened,
which it would have been even more bold then.
I think it's a more difficult discussion after the season. Like, to me, it's a no-brainer now. So I'm speaking about now.
I mean, you say that. What do you mean? Are you talking because of the injuries, because of the some of the external stuff from the player, or not external?
I'm not worried about the personality stuff because I said, generally Jalen's very. I'm not happy with it. You want to control it as much as possible, but I don't really care about the spinning incident other than you hope he matures, things like that. I'm not talking about that.
I mean, I think we all can say here Jalen Carter had an underwhelming season compared
he had an underwhelming season. I think it was almost all of it was related to they beat the living shit out of him the year prior, 2024 in the run in the Super Bowl. Nobody played more snaps than Jalen Carter, and he shows up the next year, day one in training camp, and he can't play because his shoulder's hurt. People forget he missed the first 5-6 days, whatever it was. And it was persistent throughout the season to the point he's getting experimental shots in his shoulders. Like, that's concerning to me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was banged up all year.
And by the way, in between all of that, they kept playing him more than anybody else.
Yeah, if it's concerning to you, imagine what Drew Rosenhaus is saying.
And I was upset they were playing, like what John said, they were playing more than anybody else. I'm like, guys, more Jomo's on this team. You can do something.
And I think moving forward, they got to be much more.
Is that on Vic? The snap counts?
Well, I went through it with Fletcher Cox. I think it. Normally it would be Clint Hurt to its responsibility to, rotate the defensive front. But obviously if Vic wants to step in, he can say, we need Jalen Carter on the field at this point. You got to be very disciplined, because the Eagles would talk for years about how much Fletcher Cox would play. And they say, we got to lighten the load on him. And then you get in the games and
you need to win.
Yeah, you need to win, and you want him out there. And it's really difficult. And obviously you want Jalen Carter out there, and he's willing to go out there. So it is difficult, but you got to be
John on that.
You got to be more disciplined.
Yeah, it's easy to say like, oh, we need to play this guy less on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then Sunday hits, and it's a 3-point game in the fourth quarter, and
exactly right.
You're wondering why is it Jalen Carter on the field?
He played 11 games last year, and he had 698 defensive snaps. And so number one, and this includes the playoffs, and I don't know if they've updated it, but Leonard Williams is 948. So think about that.
That's 63 snaps a game, John.
63 snaps a game. Who are the mathematicians? Jeff, you're the mathematician. What's 63 times 6?
378. Yeah, I was going to say around 380. So
380. So let's say 380. So you add 700. He would have been at 1,080 snaps, 140 more than the next guy.
Yeah,
that's how much they're playing him. Which is
that's Malcolm Jenkins territory, by the way.
For a defensive lineman, which is a rotational position, where it should be. You got to get that down to 40, 45.
Yeah.
For the long-term health of the player, in my opinion.
Especially when you have Jordan Davis, Moro,
and you have tons
Byron
of
Young. Yeah.
Yeah, tons
of away Tom Booker. I wonder how much that had to do with it.
I don't think it had anything to do with it.
No,
you think they're putting Thomas Booker on the field?
I got it. Maybe it would have helped. It would have helped.
When they traded Booker and let Milton go, I'm like, their defensive tackle still their deepest position.
Yeah, Byron Young played well.
Milton Williams, man, shout out to him. He had another good game though.
Oh yeah, tremendous. Well, he's good. He's a good player.
That guy's a good player, man.
Yeah. How about that story that came, which we already kind of knew, like Milton wanted to come back, but it wasn't happening.
Yeah, no, they didn't even give him a call. Milton seemed kind of sad about it, man. He seemed kind of sad.
Yeah,
it's a business.
They knew they couldn't pay him.
I mean, the most logical explanation I can give for this whole thing is that they drafted Jalen Carter in the first round. They drafted Jordan Davis in the first round, and you got to pay those guys. And they're the guys you're going to invest in. Milton Williams was the third-round pick who defied the odds.
Yeah, and they like Moro Jomo. And Milton's similar style player as Jalen Carter. So what are you going to do? I mean, it's not like he can play nose tackle.
You pay Milton and trade Carter for Micah Parsons.
I mean, that would have been nice if we would have known this in March.
I'm just kidding. Incoming all the comments. Dude, you could trade. All right. Relax.
I mean, it does make sense if you think about if it's March 12th of last year, you're probably like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but then you don't have as much value in the trade. If you're paying Milton what he's getting paid, you don't have the same value because. Part of the thing is Jalen Carter's on his rookie deal, so it makes it more palatable for Dallas in that theory of the trade. But bottom line is the Eagles, the Cowboys were not trading Micah Parsons to the Eagles. They had the best offer on the table, and they took a lesser offer.
Weaker offer.
Well, you get 2 first-round picks, so I don't know. And you turned one of them to Quinnen Williams. So I don't know if it's that much lower, but they took a lower offer.
I still say I have a bold prediction this offseason with this team already. I think Max Crosby could be an Eagle. That's my bold prediction.
Well, they'll go after an edge rusher.
Yeah, they will.
No.
If
Well,
they
what do
can't
they-
re-sign
what
Jalen
do you
Phillips,
think they're giving up to get a guy like? What would they have to give up to get a guy like Max Crosby?
at least 2 firsts, in my opinion.
Two first?
I'm not going near 2 firsts for Max Crosby.
Nah, dude.
I'm not either, but I think that's what the Raiders are going to want.
I
I'm not
don't-
saying
How
that's what
old
they're going
is
to
he? I
get.
thought he was like 30. Is he? What is he? 28, 29?
I think he's
I don't.
29.
Crosby age. He's
I don't
28.
even-
He'll be 29 in August.
And you talk about a guy who plays a lot, Max Crosby.
Oh,
he
he
like
plays a
never
ton.
leaves the field. And you know, he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. This will be his 8th year. I don't want any parts of Max Crosby.
It killed Max Crosby though when the Raiders basically told him you're not playing the rest of the season.
No, I'm not criticizing the player. I'm just, you know, he's not playing as well as he did. His height was basically, you know, 2021 to 2023, whereas, you know, top 5.
He still gets a lot of pressures.
He does, but he's already descending. He plays so much. That's not going to turn around. There's no way I'm giving up 2 1s for that. And then I got to pay
What would
him.
you give up for him? Like a 2 or a 1? What would you give up?
Wait a minute. Didn't Max Crosby sign already? He signed last year.
Well, what's he make?
$36 million.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not giving up fucking number 1.
I don't know if I am either, dude. I don't know if I am either.
I'm just saying that's what the Raiders would ask for. I'm not saying that's
you're
what
right.
they
They'll
would have
ask
to give
for
up.
at least a 1. I think they're
Yeah.
asking for at least a 1. 2 seems insane for him.
You know what? You know what? End up being it'll be like, okay, if the Eagles do have to give up 1, it'll be a first and a third or something, or it'll be like 2 seconds or something.
Well, now you'd have to give him a new contract because let's see, the last contract he signed was 4 years, $94 million in 2022. Then they worked out a $35.5 million. So you'd have to work out a new contract. And obviously that's going to be 30+ million. I do not think the Eagles will be in the Max Crosby business at all. I don't even think he's a fit either for this defense. I just, you know, give me Myles Garrett or Micah. You can't have Micah. Give me Myles Garrett or I'll take Jalen Phillips.
Oh, I'm sure they'll go swinging for Myles Garrett. Yeah. They always go swinging for Myles Garrett.
He's getting older too, though. I mean, I know he's still a sick player. I'm just saying, do you think about that at all?
By the way, Myles Garrett, I had no idea his girlfriend is an Olympian.
Yeah, didn't you know that?
No, I had no idea.
Who's his girlfriend? I don't even know who his girlfriend is. No.
I forget her name. I'll look it up real quick. But she is an Olympic snowboarder.
Yep.
And
She's Wendy or something. What's that girl's name?
No, I'm looking it up right now. But she's
Kim.
Yeah, it's Kim.
Yeah, Chloe Kim. Yeah.
Chloe Kim.
I know Chloe Kim because I like snowboarding and
Chloe Kim was just on.
I didn't know that was I didn't know that was Myles Garrett's girlfriend. I know who.
Well,
Chloe
I was standing. I was watching the Brown stretch when they were here last year, and I happened to stand right next to her. I had no idea who she was.
You didn't know that was Chloe Kim?
No idea.
We were there.
No idea. And I'm like, Myles Garrett keeps looking at me or in my directions, this monster. And I'm like, what the freak is this guy keep looking at me? And all of a sudden,
you, John.
Well, yeah, I know. He's running right at me. I saw my life pass before my eyes. And I'm like, oh, there's his girlfriend's right next to me. But I had no idea she was an Olympian. None.
Not just an Olympian, a gold medal Olympian.
Yeah, had no idea.
She's badass, dude. I didn't realize that was Myles Garrett's girlfriend. That's pretty cool. That's probably the best player in the NFL, and Chloe Kim, an Olympic gold medalist. All right, there you go. It's super genetics coming right there.
I think she won her gold medal at 14 too. I think she won her first gold medal.
Yeah, one of the real early ones. I think I remember that correctly too. Jeff, let me ask you, what is your thoughts on the Eagles offensive coaching staff, dude? They brought in Mannion last week, Mahaffey. Jeff Stoutland is out. We haven't talked to you since.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to him yet.
We haven't gotten to the good shit. What do you make of what's going on with the Eagles coaching staff right now and the Eagles offensive build out of their staff?
Based on how the Jeff Stoutland stuff developed, are any of us really surprised he's not here?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I mean, he's been here for freaking 13 years. Everybody
I mean,
loves
he
him.
survived a
Everybody
lot of
thinks he's
play
a legend.
callers, but I mean,
Oh, he survived. What assistant coach survives 3 head coaches? Never mind all the play callers.
yeah. I mean,
I
that
mean,
just
it's
shows you
just
how good of a
weird.
coach you were. But I mean, what went down in that building last year that he just got
Yeah, but
that
what
that
here?
upset?
Well, look, and I did the homework. We were talking about this last week a little bit, Xander and I. But as far as I can tell, run game coordinator didn't even exist until 2016 in the
Yeah,
NFL.
when Doug became coach, I thought like that was like
Well,
a
Jeff didn't get it
thing.
to 2018, the year after Super Bowl 52.
And
He
that
didn't get.
that felt like a in-house promotion.
I'm saying as the league in general, it didn't even exist until 2016, and it was sort of unofficial. They started calling Greg Roman that in Baltimore, and it was sort of unofficial. And all of a sudden, they make this title, and now everybody's blown up this title. There has never been a situation in the NFL, any city, any team, anywhere, where the run game coordinator has more power over the run game than the offensive coordinator or offensive, if you have an offensive head coach. You get my point. They're at best, when you have the setup the Eagles have, they're at best third on the flow chart. So this nonsense that Jeff Stoutland was in control of the running game never existed. Never existed. It doesn't work that way. It does. The offensive coordinator here, because of how they set it up, or again, if it's Sean McVay, Mike McDaniel, Miami, whatever, they're in charge of the running game. So Nick Sirianni's in charge of the running game. Kevin Patullo's ahead of Jeff Stoutland, and they wanted to make some changes. And I think from Jeff's standpoint, they didn't, give him a seat at the table, so to speak. And obviously you didn't like that, but ultimately it's the head coach's decision. I mean, and this is anywhere. And by the way, to be fair, which I know people don't like to be, to the people they don't like or perceive they don't like, they got much better with Nick's decision to change the running game. Still not good enough, but it got much better than it was when Saquon was averaging 3.4 yards per carry. And they made the move that everybody liked the move. Get under center more, give Saquon more options. They like everything except the fact that it's branded by Nick Sirianni. That's not fair.
I like to point this out. The guy's won 69% of his games. He's 5th in NFL history in win percent. He must be doing something right. You would think. Everybody judges everybody on winning until it's time to judge someone on winning.
It's not everybody. They want to believe that Stoutland did that. And the reality is he fought against that. He didn't want that to happen.
No. And he got up. I guess he got upset. I don't know. I mean, look, this is my favorite thing. You all want to change to this offense. You wanted this offense to go over a makeshift. Careful what you wish for sometimes, because that means coaches don't come back.
Well, Stoutland's gone. I tell you what, Sean Mannion, he better be right about Sean Mannion, right? I mean,
you're taking the swing, but that's a swing you got to take a swing.
Jeff, they're taking more than a swing, dude. They got Mannion, they got Grizzard, they got Mahaffey, they got a lot of young coaches on this offensive side of the ball that they're putting a lot of eggs in their basket. Now, I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying it's a big risk.
It's a big swing. It's a Kyle Schwarber home run swing.
Well, yeah, he's responsible. He's going to lose his job if Sean Mannion doesn't work out.
Exactly. Yeah. He that's why I think it's kind of fair to say if he is on the hot seat, because if this doesn't work, he's not going to be.
But look, if he could have handled it better politically with Jeff Stoutland, maybe that's the case. But ultimately, the part I'll push back on is the idea that Jeff should have been in charge of the run. He was never in charge of the running game. Doesn't work that way. There's no run game coordinator in the NFL that's in charge of the running game. Their job is to help develop concepts in the running game to insert into the game plan, where then, and as I pointed out last week, Xander, then it goes up the chain. And then it's Kevin Patullo's decision, and ultimately Nick Sirianni's decision, if he wants to overrule Kevin Patullo about what is actually done in the game.
I almost want to write about this. Go back in my archives here, because everybody likes to rip Patullo. Fine. Who were you going to hire on February 13th last year? Just curious.
Well, everybody's better than KP, so you could have hired anybody, and most people.
Well, okay, name names. And you know what, John? I heard the most ridiculous thing this past week. I'm a fan. I don't need to do that. What?
Well,
I said, because you always complain you never have an answer.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know. Look, I think here's my hubris coming out. I think I know more about football than most people who cover the Eagles. I do. That's my ego. But I'm smart enough. But I'm smart enough to know that I don't know jack shit compared to the coaches. Like, I don't have that kind of ego.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, Mike Gill describes this better. A lot of people, they know they can't play in the NFL, but they think they could coach in the NFL. And I think so. I think a lot of people think that they can make decisions on who's good and who's bad. Even though, as I just explained, you don't even know the job descriptions, but you're making these grandiose.
You know what? That's a Mike Gill saying. You don't know the job description.
You're right, though, John.
Yeah, I make you grandiose declarations about coaches. I mean, I'll give Sean Mannion a chance. I haven't met the guy yet. I'll give Josh Grizzard a chance. I'll give Ryan Mahaffey a chance. I'm sure they're good coaches, but I can't tell you if they're going to be good coaches.
I thought Grizzard was a good coach last year in Tampa. I just think he was the fall guy for what happened.
Well, and that I should have used perceived to be good coaches. That will be determined by how the players play, obviously, which you kind of, I don't know how many people. But to the youth, I don't hold youth against them. These same criticisms came when the Eagles hired Sirianni and Shane Steichen, and they had so much youth on that coaching staff and inexperience, and that worked out.
Mike McDonald.
Mike McDonald just won the Super Bowl. He's 36 years old.
Yeah.
37. All right,
I was in line with him at the Tower of Terror 18 months ago, and now he's a Super Bowl head coach.
The Tower of Terror.
That's where I saw him.
33rd youngest coach to ever win the Super Bowl. And now he's going to lose his offensive coordinator because he won the Super Bowl. And we're going to see,
All right, so over under, guys, for you guys. I want both of you to answer this. Over under. I'll just do a year and a half to make it easy for Sean Mannion in Philly, because not many have lasted longer than a year.
Well, I'm going under from the standpoint of I think Nick's going to get fired after this season if you force me into a bet. And if Nick gets fired, everybody gets fired. And that's why I don't like firing coaches, because it affects a lot of people's livelihoods.
I'll go under both ways, as what John said. And two, if he does turn this offense around, he's going to be a head coach.
Yeah.
So I'll go with John.
You think he'll be a head coach that quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look at Kellen Moore, look at Steichen. Those two couldn't this league could not wait to get their hands on those guys.
Well, and a lot depends on how many teams. Like, there were a ton of openings, so you always have to have the patient team. There's got to be a patient team, or they're a team that nobody wants to go to, like Arizona.
And we got to remember too, we had 10 openings this year. How many are we gonna have next year?
Which is crazy
how many openings.
So I assume it's going to be more like normal 6 7 maybe.
I'm pretty sure the Jets will have a head coach opening at this time next year.
Yeah, well, that's a good.
Well,
That's a good one.
You can almost bet on that happening every 2 years.
I thought they were going to have it this year. I thought for sure after like 7 weeks, Aaron Glenn was one and done.
By the way, I just want to take this to spike the football because I told you Sam Darnold could play all the viewers. But number 2, my God, I think Kevin O'Connell's on the clock. There's a guy nobody thinks of because everybody
He's
loves.
on the clock.
That is the worst personnel decision. I said it during the season of the century.
The GM got fired because of that decision.
Didn't they already scapegoat someone for that?
They did, but he's going to be next, and they're not turning it around.
John, I don't think you're wrong, but let me just explain how. And I'm not as privy to the information there as you probably are. I viewed that as like they made it seem like that was all the GM's decision, and the coach didn't want to do what the GM wanted to do with the quarterback. Now, I don't know if that's true. Maybe O'Connell was on board with moving on, but that's like it came across to me like, oh, clearly the GM wanted to go a different route, and the coaching staff was pissed off about it, so they decided to fire the GM after it didn't work out.
Well, I agree that's what happened, but this from the standpoint of he had his fingerprints all over the McCarthy pick as well. Now they wanted to trade up to get Drake Maye. They were going to give up 2 first-round picks and a couple of other picks to try to get up and to get Drake Maye, who I'm not even sure that he's what people think he is, but he's a hell of a lot better.
He's better than JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
That guy's guys, JJ McCarthy barely threw footballs in the national championship when he was.
Well, and also he's constantly hurt on top of it. It's like he can't hold up anyway. So
if I ever want to point out the whole John McMullen is right thing, anything he ever said about JJ McCarthy over the last 3 years.
Well, I got nothing.
I agree with you on it.
I just think to Xander's point, he didn't do much in college. I mean, he wasn't asked to do much.
He literally went, hold on, I got to get the exact number. 38 minutes and 37 seconds without throwing a pass against Penn State and his team.
That's amazing.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
I literally watched that game.
So
and it was like, has JJ even thrown yet?
You know, that's a guy I'm taking in the 3rd round. He's got some upside, give it a shot, whatever. But they took him with the 11th pick, whatever, the 10th pick.
10th pick. And like, I thought Bo Nix was better than him.
That I didn't like either of them, so I'm not going to. Obviously, Bo's much better now, but I wasn't a big Bo Nix fan. I thought both got pushed up the board, as quarterbacks tend to do. Oh, yeah. And the Vikings kind of panicked. The Vikings panicked because they didn't get Drake Maye. But I think the disconnect there had to do with the contingency. And the contingency, their plan was to get Daniel Jones back. And I think Kwesi screwed that up. And that's why he got scapegoated. Because they did have a solid plan. They didn't want to pay Sam Darnold what he got, which I would have. I mean, but I'm like, what are you looking for in this league? When you see guys, like, I get it. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Justin Herbert. He's not that top group, the Joe Burrow, the 4 elite guys. He's not that
But he's in the top 10.
But, I mean, you can win with him. And it's like, do your job. If you find a quarterback.
I think that is the problem with this league in general. They're looking for the perfect. They're looking for the Mahomes.
Well, yeah, everybody wants.
They're looking for the Allen.
Everybody wants the guy who makes up for the most amount of negatives, but that's not always possible.
I mean, look what Sam did. Sam didn't have a great game, but he didn't turn the ball over.
John, do you put Jalen Hurts in the category you just put Sam in? Like, he's not the elite, but you win with him when you build around him. When you do
exactly,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
That is worth paying for in this league. And to Jeff's point of using that word, perfect. Yes. Perfect is the enemy of good.
Correct.
Like, great. Try to find perfect, but when you're trying to find perfect, and nobody's perfect unless you're Myles Garrett, but the NFL joke. And while you're trying to find perfect, good's pretty good. Build around good. And, you know, Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold's won a Super Bowl. You can do it. Build around good. Build around good. That's what I would. If I were interviewing GMs, that's what I would. Don't worry about perfect.
Yeah, I think you're
Also,
right.
Sandra, to add to your point about the 50 million quarterback thing before I came on, Jalen's still the only $50 million quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, what's Darnold? Darnold's, boy, they stole
Darnold's only 33. Darnold's on a great deal. 33 million.
Man, that's a good deal for Seattle.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to redo his deal, and he's going to have to get more, which is fine, and they'll be glad to do it because
you know what, they got 67 million in cap space. So yeah,
I don't know if I were them, I might say you signed your deal already. All right, you come back for 33.
By the way, you know, I'm sure you guys have seen it, but Sam was in the 2018 draft, so that's the Saquon Barkley draft. So it was Baker Mayfield, Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold. That was the three.
2 and 3 have gotten Super Bowls and played the huge role in getting Super Bowl.
The 7th pick was Josh Allen that year.
32 was Lamar.
32 was Lamar.
Josh Rosen was what, 10 in that draft?
Yeah. Well, Josh Rosen was 10. Yes. Sam Darnold's the first to win a Super Bowl. Of the quarter. Josh Allen, Allen, Lamar Jackson, first to win a Super Bowl. Baker obviously included. First to go. First USC quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. How crazy is that stat?
We'll put the sting on for Ravens fans right now. The Ravens defensive coordinator for a lot of those years was Mike McDonald.
Oh yeah.
I've told people this, and I've told a lot of Chiefs players this. That day they beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, I went to the Chiefs locker room. I was talking to a few Chiefs players. I said, "You guys know what you did, right?" They said, "Oh yeah, we're going to win a Super Bowl."
But to my original point about O'Connell, there's a guy that everybody says, "Look, they're going to try to move forward with JJ McCarthy and bring in Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr. And it ain't going to work again, and he's going to get blown out." That's how quick it happens in this.
Not only did they let Sam go, they had Daniel Jones in the building.
Oh, they let Daniel Jones. That's what Kwesi got fired for, from not getting Daniel Jones back. And also, Aaron Rodgers wanted to play for them, which, you know, Aaron at this stage isn't Aaron, but they would have made the playoffs with
Aaron's a lot better than JJ.
Yeah.
I mean, they would have made the playoffs with Aaron.
Now Aaron might be coming back because Mike McCarthy's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. But yeah, if you screw up the quarterback position that badly, you're going to get fired. And Kwesi's already gotten fired. Shame. I like the guy, know him, but I mean, you can't survive that kind of mismanagement at the game's most important position.
I agree.
Jeff, let me ask you, how about the elevation of our boy Dino Vasso?
Yeah, Dino got a lot of head coaching, not head coaching, defensive coordinator sniffs. Yeah, defensive coordinator sniffs. Well, that's what happens. I mean, how good was that Houston defense this year?
They were phenomenal. I mean, that was Super Bowl caliber. Yeah. I thought my pick was Seahawks Texans.
Wait, speaking of other coaches around the league, there's a couple interesting things about the Eagles' former staff that Doug Peterson was fired for. Press Taylor.
Yeah, Press Taylor got elevated.
Oh, I love that one. To the offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears.
Ben Johnson loves Press Taylor.
Wait, the offensive genius of our time, Ben Johnson, hires Press Taylor. But Doug Peterson,
he was already there, by the way. Press was already there.
But I just think it's funny. Like, Press Taylor is the reason Doug was fired.
Yeah. And wait, and you know the other one that Doug wanted? You know who it is, right, Jeff? Defensive side?
Oh, yeah.
Matt Burke, the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans.
That's right. I was thinking about that. I'm like, wait a minute, where's Matt Burke at now? That's a good pull, Xander. That's a really good pull.
Matt Burke and Press Taylor.
Well, it was Corey Unlin too. It was
yeah, that's right. Unlin's still in Detroit, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I forget.
He leave.
He got a head coaching. Head coach. Why do I keep saying head coach? He got a defensive coordinator sniff. He might be still in it for the teams looking for defensive coordinator. But yeah,
you know where Corey Ellen's at? I should know this. The Texans.
yeah, Texans getting a lot of
DeMeco knows how to hire people.
A lot of love. But yeah, I mean, well, the Press Taylor stuff always killed me because that tells you how quickly things turn in this league, because the Eagles really propped him up as a rising star in the coaching ranks. And then he became a scapegoat here. And that's how quickly it happens. And he was not even a Doug guy. He got here with Chip. He was another guy who got here with Chip, and they kept him because they loved him. And then Doug took a liking to him, and then Doug gets shit for liking him. It's crazy how this league works.
So Corey is actually, it looks like the Browns are going to contact the Texans to interview him for defensive coordinator.
And by the way, Press Taylor found the Philly special. The Philly special.
Did you guys watch the documentary on Friday? That was good.
What was it?
I didn't. It was on ESPN. I got that trailer. I should have watched it in advance, and I still haven't watched it. I'll watch it, but
it was very good. It
did they mention Press? Did they mention Press?
Yep, they did.
What was it on? Was it on the Philly special?
Yeah, so it was pretty much like the 17 season, but they kind of did more of the Foles part of the season. But
wait, what network, Jeff? I'll watch it.
It was on ESPN. It was 30 for 30.
Yeah, 30 for 30. ESPN.
Yeah, but it was really cool. Like, the director's a big Eagles fan. They had, so basically it was Foles, Trey Burton, Doug, Kelsey, someone else. I think Lane was in it. I'm trying to remember now. I got to rewatch it, but they did a really good explanation of like how the play came to be, what.
Well, I'm glad they gave Press credit. They gave him credit.
Yeah, but it was funny, like, because Burton and Foles are laughing. They're like, "Yeah, we were going to use this in the NFC Championship game, and we didn't have to."
Yeah, that turned into a blowout quick.
Yeah, they did.
Well, I knew Burton, and I actually mentioned this Burton on X, and I said, Trey, before we even get into this, wasn't that your first touchdown pass since like high school? He's like, yeah, ninth grade.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, last question.
And he mentioned in the documentary. So,
all right, last question for me, Jeff, on the Eagles' evolving coaching staff right now and the storyline of their 2026 season. Are Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni both on the hot seat together?
ooh.
Is just Nick Sirianni? Is it just Jalen? Is it one or the other?
I think in a way, yes, but I don't want to go that route because, I mean, if you get a new head coach, he'll probably want his own quarterback. You would think. But Nick didn't do that. Well, I guess he did, right?
He did, but he didn't want to. It wasn't. Remember, the Eagles wanted Wentz to stay by how I would.
I feel like with Jalen's credentials, I feel like he gets more of a leeway than Nick does, don't you think? You know, but Nick's credentials, Nick should get a leeway too.
I think he gets more leeway because it's easier to find a new coach than it is easier to find a new quarterback.
I agree with
much
John
easier.
There. Yeah,
to find.
Yeah, I mean, who are you getting that's better than
find
Jalen?
A new quarterback? I got a sneaking one. Is John Snyder catching up to Howie Roseman?
Yes. You know, I got a fun John Snyder fact. He is the first GM to win a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls, with no one on the roster of the previous Super Bowl winner he's had.
Yeah, he's getting up there, man. He's done
like
a good
that's
job.
2 in 12 years. That's, I mean, look, what Howie did's impressive too, but
and he was a yard away from a third. He was a yard away from a third.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean,
as everybody was.
By the way, if Seattle wins that Super Bowl, how do we look at Russ's career? Like, people would say he's a Hall of Famer, right? No doubt.
Probably.
Yeah.
Russ, did you guys hear them talking about that on the panel last night? Jason Garrett taking a shot I thought Kyle Shanahan's answer was. By the way, I thought Kyle Shanahan was freaking.
Kyle
awesome.
Shanahan was brilliant. I love when Kyle
I'm
Shanahan.
talking about the coverage yesterday. I thought he was great on the NBC broadcast.
I love when he said, like, I know you guys want coach speak on how to beat this team, but the last 2 times I played him, I had scored a touchdown.
Yeah. No, but they brought up that play on the goal line, and I'm like, of course, Jason Garrett takes the opportunity to like run the ball. You gotta run the ball. I'm like, Jason,
come on, Jason.
Kyle Shanahan's like, well, if you actually watch the defense that they were in, it was the right move for them to pass the ball there. They didn't execute it properly. I think it was the right play call. I'm like, thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle.
Kyle was good, man. John, I don't know if you heard him.
Kyle was
a little bit.
Kyle's got a future in this.
Like
Kyle was good on there.
I was at that Super Bowl, the most exciting Super Bowl I think of all time, because obviously it ended the way it ended with the Malcolm Butler play. And Pete Carroll took a lot of
right. That's Super Bowl in Glendale.
Yeah, that was an Arizona Super Bowl. So Pete Carroll took a lot of crap. First of all, Pete Carroll wasn't the offensive coordinator. Pete Carroll's the defensive-minded head coach. Darrell Bevell was the offensive coordinator. But it was the proper call. It was a great play. It was a great play. Sometimes you got to tip your hat to the other team.
I was thinking I remember back then I was kind of thinking terms like how Shanahan was thinking like, okay, well, if you do have Marshawn on the field, then you got to have one of your receivers block. I was thinking that back then.
Plus, they weren't effective running the ball. The assumption that, but they have Marshawn, so everybody.
Yeah, but you have Marshawn.
Yeah.
It's a shame the tush push wasn't really a thing back then.
It's not a shame. Thank God it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, Kyle was good though. I thought. All right, Jeff.
I'm with you, John, on the most exciting Super Bowls. I think that one was it. Tom Brady was down 10-4. Patriots down. You had that crazy catch to even lead to that moment. And then that place was buzzing, man. That was exciting. And that was the Patriots' first title in 10 years too.
Yeah, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, because remember that they had 2 different dynasties.
They had a big, big lull in between. Always
that
good.
That was a star-powered Super Bowl. I mean, you had the team that won going for the repeat. You had the Patriots of Brady and Belichick. I do agree with a lot of people like this year. You didn't really have the quote-unquote star power.
Yeah, I don't know. The Super Bowl is always the Super Bowl. I made that. I learned from Pittsburgh, Seattle. That to me was the one that year. I was like, boy, this has got no juice and nobody cares and everybody cared. Super Bowl's the Super Bowl. It sells itself. Yeah. You don't need the main eventers. It's like WrestleMania.
It was weird that
WrestleMania sells itself. It doesn't matter who's main event.
It's a massive
brand has become. The brand has become.
But it was weird that year too because Bettis' story was like Darnold's story, like the whole comeback. But you already kind of knew like Darnold could do it just based on how he was playing in the postseason. He wasn't turning the ball over. But Bettis, it's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to see him play his final game in Detroit? Okay, well, he played his final game in Detroit. Now he's just got to finish it.
All right, Jeff, good show today, brother. Appreciate you joining in. As always good talking to you. Make sure everybody goes and follows Jeff at Jeff Kerr PHL.
Spring training. When do pitchers report?
Oh, yeah.
That'd
pitchers
be Wednesday.
and catches.
That'd be Wednesday. Some are already down there.
Right into it. Are you going down there?
I will be down there in March. I'll be down there for a week.
There you go. All right, Jeff, good show, brother. I'll talk to you next week. All right, man.